Lesson 2-3, the coordinate plane. The main focus of this lesson is to be able to graph points on a coordinate plane. By the end of this lesson, you're going to not only be able to write coordinates for a coordinate plane, you're also going to be able to graph those points on a coordinate plane. Your vocabulary for today is coordinate plane, quadrant, x-axis, y-axis, origin, ordered pair, x-coordinate, and y-coordinate. We're going to start this by covering a bit of vocabulary. This graph, paper-looking thing, is known as a coordinate plane. And it has two lines on it. The line that goes horizontally is known as the x-axis, and the line that goes vertically is known as the y-axis. I always remind students that you can remember which one's the y, because the letter Y has a tail that comes down, and the y-axis is the one that comes down, like the tail of a Y. Another thing that we need to know is this point right here in the middle, where the x and the y-axis cross, is known as the origin. So this is the origin here. The coordinate plane is divided into 4 quadrants. This is known as quadrant 1. This is known as quadrant 2. This one down here is quadrant 3. And this down here is quadrant 4. So they go around counterclockwise, starting in the upper right-hand corner, going around counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4. One thing that you do need to know about the coordinate plane is that the numbers on this side of the x-axis are the positive numbers, like a number line, and the numbers on this side of the x-axis are negative. So here we could number this 1, we could number this one 2, this one's 3, and 4. And over here, this would be negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and negative 4. We can have the same thing happening on the y-axis. This would be positive 1, 2, 3, going up, and when we go down, that's negative. So this would be negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and so on. When we talk about points on the coordinate plane, we always are given 2 numbers. Like if we had the coordinate 3, 4. The first number is on the x-axis, and the second number is on the y-axis. I always remind students that they go in alphabetical order. The x-axis first, and then the y-axis. So what this means is we're going to find 3 on the x-axis, and 3 is right here. Then we're going to find 4 on the y-axis, which I didn't number yet. 4 is right here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come over, and we're going to go up, and where these 2 intersect, this is that point on the coordinate plane. This point right here is 3, 4. So you go over on the x-axis first, and then you go up or down on the y-axis second. You do the x-coordinate first, and then the y-coordinate. So this example wants us to write the ordered, that should be pair, that corresponds to point D, and then state the quadrant that the point is in. This is point D right here. We need to find the ordered pair that represents that point right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the x-axis, and I'm going to count over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's -5 because I'm going in the negative direction on the x-axis. So my x-coordinate is -5. and then I'm going to count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's going to be a positive 5 because we're going in a positive direction. So the coordinates for that point are -5, 5. And all I did was I counted from the origin, where it's 0, 0. I counted over, and since I'm going in the left direction, that's negative. And then I counted up, which is positive, to find out the y coordinate. Where these numbers over here are negative, these are positive up here, and these are negative down here. The second part of this is then we have to state which quadrant that's in. And if we go back to the previous slide, we can see that if our point is over in this quadrant right here, this is known as quadrant 2. So this would be quadrant 2. And there we've answered both parts of that question. We wrote the ordered pair that corresponds to point D, and we figured out which quadrant it was in. The last example that I'm going to go over with you today is we're going to actually graph and label point K at 2, 5 on this coordinate plane. So remember, the 2 is the x coordinate and the 5 is the y coordinate. So I'm going to start by doing the x first. I'm going to start at the origin and count over 2, 1, 2. And then I'm going to keep my pencil right there, and I'm going to do the y coordinate, which is 5, and that it's positive 5, so that means I'm going to go up. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to put a dot right there. I'm going to label that point K because they told us that's the letter for that. So remember, you start with the x coordinate first on the x-axis, and then you do the y coordinate, which goes up and down second.